Okay, this is my Turtlebot EU European version, which I've made from a couple of things that some have been donated, some have been purchased, and some have been lying around. So the very base of it is a Roomba 510. I've taken the brushes and the brushes out. I've purchased a new battery and put the new battery in. I've taken an old cord from a PS2 mouse and wired that to the DIN connection, DIN port. To do that, I had to modify the cover plate, which just pries out, and cut that away, otherwise it's concealed. And you can break the center tab out of the male mouse pin, and then you can go onto the internet and find out what the signals are. So you're getting a transmit, a receive, a ground, and you're also getting like 18 volts, 15 to 18 volts unregulated power. So I'm taking that cord and I'm using an Arduino bib. That's a USB to TTL bib, and it's clearly marked, if we could zoom in a little closer to see that we have the TTL, RX, and TX and ground signals labeled on the old bib. I suggest you get the old bib, not the new bib, because the old bib has a little expansion area, and on that expansion area where the heatsink is, I put a 12 volt regulator and a couple of capacitors to get a 12 volt supply. And I've used that 12 volt supply to wire into the Connect to power the Connect. The Connect needs a 12 volt supply. Now once we're plugged in, we are sucking power, so you have to always be charging this. Right now I'm not charging it, so if I just leave it like this, in an hour the battery is going to be totally exhausted. Even with the Connect not hooked up, it's drawing power off the TTL even if the computer is off, so you always have to keep this guy on charge. I cut the plates, the cover plates, which are these guys, out of 1/4 inch plywood. Fortunately I have access to a laser cutter, so I downloaded the DXF files, had to convert the files to hairline, ported them to Corel Draw, and then used a laser cutter to cut out the panels. And I made the standoffs using aluminum rod, 1/2 inch aluminum rod, and I believe 8/32 all thread to thread through. And then drilling and tapping those is kind of hard unless without a lathe, but it is possible to do if you buy a little center drill and are very patient to get the started hole right in the center of the aluminum rod, and then use the tapping, I think it's a 29, number 29 drill, to drill and then tap and then put in the threads. I also have wired up an auxiliary battery pack because the power draw is so high. So basically I've tapped into the unregulated power supply, and I have a secondary battery that gives me a little extra power. I have an old clunky laptop on the top, and the reason I don't have it mounted internally is just a little too big to fit in happily, and I always have to be typing on it anyway, so I brought it up to the top, so it's a bit top heavy, but this guy is operational. I can control it from an Android tablet. So that's a little tour of my Turtlebot EU European version.